I've started to experience a huge problem recently. I've realized that you men have dealt with it your entire life. Communicating with women is fucking impossible. Here's the problem, you can't be honest with them. One thing I've learned from studying men is that you guys are often very honest with one another. At least amongst yourselves, you say what needs to be said rather than what someone wants to hear. And that's because it's also what you would want to hear. But women cannot handle the truth. The truth often sends women into an absolute frenzy.
Have you ever had that experience with a woman where you're trying your best to be rational, to be logical in the discussion, but no matter how much truth you speak, no matter how many facts you present, the discussion just goes nowhere? Her response to whatever you're saying is just some variation of, oh, well, I just don't feel like that's true, or I don't want to believe that. At which point you feel like your head's just going to explode. But man, let me tell you something, because just as you can't understand how she is dismissing all of the rationality that you're presenting because she's having some emotions, she is having the exact same experience. She's seeing you list fact after fact, going on about all this truth and logic and reason, and she cannot understand what is wrong with you. How is it that you can just ignore her emotions, just dismiss their importance because of logic? That makes no sense. Now, I understand. This is a huge generalization. Women can be logical, men can be emotional. This is not black and white. There's obviously a huge overlap. But let's be honest, as a general trend, men skew towards the logical and women skew towards the emotional. I'm not saying that as a criticism, like men are better than women or anything like that. I'm a psychology therapy kind of guy. I like emotions. I think that the feminine perspective does provide valid data for understanding reality. And in my course, you'll see how important it is to understand these emotions in order to be able to connect to women. So I'm not hating on women or the feminine perspective or emotions or anything like that. What I am saying though is that women can emphasize their emotions to a fault. Because if those emotions are ever taking the supreme place above rationality, that's when things can get toxic, abusive, straight up delusional, really quickly. Women who ignore rationality, ignore reality, and are just a slave to their emotions are very dangerous. Watch this clip.
Nobody ever respects me!
Why are you breaking all our shit?
Because it's either our shit or in her f***ing face!
No, it's not. Calm
That is
down.
so goddamn
Calm down.
No!
Yes.
That's awful. I hope it's clear that I'm not showing these clips to like make fun of these women or laugh at them. Like, this is just awful. This evokes, compassion inside me. This is deeply sad. But it's a good demonstration of what I'm talking about when emotions are stronger than rationality. What does that screaming woman say? She says, I'm so sick of nobody respecting me. And so logically, you can deduce from that respect is an important value for her. And as any reasonable person would know, you have to give respect to gain respect. But what she's talking about here isn't a logical experience. The lack of respect that she's feeling is just emotional. She's in pain, and that pain is causing her to lash out to try and cause other people pain. She's screaming, she's breaking stuff. That's not respectful. It's not respecting other people's property, their belongings. She's demanding that the father kick his teenage daughter out of the house. That's not respectful of their relationship. That's not respectful of this teenage girl's need to have a safe place to live. Her defense of her breaking all of their stuff is that it's either the stuff or her face. Something's getting broken. She's threatening the daughter physically. That's not respectful. A woman like that is obviously out of touch with reality, and all that she can see is her own emotions. And once a woman has abandoned herself to her emotional experience and stopped consulting reality as a guide for her behavior, that's when all hell breaks loose. I'm not saying that this doesn't happen to men as well. Men can get angry, they can get jealous, but that abandonment to our emotions is not our typical MO. Consider this. If you say to a woman, you're very emotional, you have a lot of emotions, often they'll feel grateful that you have noticed. They'll feel seen and validated. Yes, I'm feeling a lot of emotions. I'm so glad that you can see that. But if you say to a man, you're experiencing a lot of emotions, you're very emotional, it's an insult. That's not manly. We're meant to be driven by logic and facts. There's a difference in how each gender experiences this. And I'm going to show you one more clip of a man using logic and a woman using emotions and what happens when these two worlds collide.
He's having the ribs.
Okay.
Because we're going to share.
Nah.
No, but this is a big problem. I like to pick off of other people's plates.
She's going to have the ribs, and then
Alright.
can I have a steak, please?
We didn't agree that, but okay.
So you're stubborn then, yeah?
I get my own way every time.
Every time?
Every time. Every gal wants their own way. Every gal wants to eat off your plate.
Like, no is never the answer.
I love shopping. You spend a lot of money on your outfits.
Nah. What's not happening? I ordered the ribs. You eat the ribs.
Worlds are colliding. His logic is like, that's my food and that's your food. You eat off your plate, I'll eat off my plate. That's rational, that's reasonable. But even after he's explained it, she's like leaning over to try and steal the food. It's like she couldn't hear it. He had to physically pick up his plate and move it away. For her, his logic is meaningless. She's navigating the world emotionally. Food. I want food. Give me food. If I don't get the food, I'll be sad. That's a good enough reason for her to have it because she wants her own way. Does she deserve it? Is that fair? Is that logical? Doesn't matter. She wants it. I found that clip very funny, but it's actually terrifying because for a woman like this who's just abandoned herself to her emotions, concepts of right and wrong become meaningless. If a woman's emotions become her justification for doing something, then who knows what she's capable of? So what's really going on here? Why are men navigating reality using rationality and women are looking to their emotions as a guide? In order to answer that question, we have to look at evolution and what each gender did in order to survive. For a man, his survival was largely dependent upon his actual skills and talents. Can you build a fire? Can you hunt big game? Can you cooperate with the fellow men in the tribe? Can you build shelter? Can you become a warrior and defeat the enemy tribe if they come raiding? Do you understand that when you're facing down a woolly mammoth that's charging at you, how you feel in that moment is not really very important. For a man, his life experiences are so high stakes that he can't afford the luxury of indulging his emotions. He has to be fact-based, cold, logical. Otherwise, he's not going to survive. And so naturally, what happens over generations is that the more logical, fact-based men are the ones that survive and thrive. And then women admire that masculinity. They see the good survival prospects. And so women start to become sexually attracted to those men. So it's not just natural selection anymore, it's sexual selection. And that's how evolution works. It reinforces this over generations and generations. I know that this is a touchy subject, but this is one of the reasons why women have a difficult time with emotional men. I see this in my Hey Hero requests all the times. You've got like a sweet, sensitive guy who's pissed off about the fact that it seems like in order to actually make women sexually attracted to him, he needs to hide who he truly is. That sucks, he thinks. Like, why can't I just, cry in front of women? Why can't I have all of my emotions and still be really sexy?
What's your advice to a guy with feelings?
Obviously you're entitled to your feelings, you're human, but have them but don't show them. Yeah, just cry on your own. Cry by yourself.
Fellas, I wish it wasn't so. But the harsh truth is that women see men who are overly emotional as lacking in masculinity. That's not to say that women won't tolerate any emotions from men. No, when it comes to choosing the future father of their children, women want men who are well-rounded individuals, complex, layered, who have emotions. But in order for a woman to actually be comfortable with emotional displays from men, two criteria need to be met. Number one, he needs to take responsibility for those emotions himself. Yes, I'm feeling this way. I'm comforting myself. I'm seeking help. I'm not expecting you to save me. I'm not expecting you to become my mum. If he has some measure of control over his emotions, then that's okay. If he's codependent with them, then that's a disaster. So that's the first criteria. And the second criteria that must be met is that his emotional display cannot be at the expense of his masculinity. What I mean by that is that if a woman looks at a man and all she sees is emotions, he's just gooey and feminine, then she's not going to tolerate that. But if she knows that this guy is a badass, he can fuck shit up if necessary, he's strong, he's got his opinions, he can provide, he can protect, he can do his manly job. Once that's locked in and she's confident that you've got that aspect of masculinity, then she's going to be tolerant of your emotional displays. Because at that stage, she's going to see that your emotions are not coming at the expense of your masculinity. It's coming in addition to your masculinity. That's wonderful, she thinks. He's going to be able to instruct my children with the hard lessons of life when necessary, but when they need a bit of nurturing, he can meet them on that level too. Awesome. But to bring this back to evolution, women were not subject to the same survival pressures that men were. They weren't going to war. They weren't hunting mammoths. For a woman to survive back in caveman days, it wasn't so much about her physical competency at completing all of these survival tasks. Her job wasn't so much to navigate the physical environment, it was more to navigate the social environment. Neurologically, we can see evidence of this in our brains. We're not hardwired for isolation. That's why it's like the worst punishment they can do in prison is to separate you from other people. It's because we absolutely need contact with other human beings in order to survive and thrive. And so for a woman to actually succeed, it was really necessary that the other women in the tribe liked her, that she was popular, that she was social, that she could emotionally empathize with the other women. You can see how this difference in gender expression for survival plays out even in the modern day when you look at like boys and girls at school, because at playtime, what are the boys doing? They're out on the oval, out in the playground, practicing skills, getting better at certain physical tasks, competing with each other. And what are the girls doing? They're sitting on the veranda talking with each other, sharing stories, emotionally empathizing. Do you see how each gender is attracted towards the task that historically in our evolution better guaranteed their survival? The boys trying to become competent at tasks, whereas the women are practicing becoming socially competent? That's not random chance that boys and girls have different focuses. That's evolution. That's biology. While the men are off hunting, the women are back at camp, tending the fire, gathering food, doing childcare, talking with each other. And if she wants help with all of her tasks, then it's going to depend on how popular she is amongst the other women. And what do women really like? It's when other women can empathize with them. They can say, oh, of course you feel that way. Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'm right there with you. That makes them feel safe. That makes them feel bonded. And so women who had a wide range of emotions, were aware of those emotions, could use those emotions to connect socially with other women, those women had a great prospect for survival. And this is it. This is why when navigating reality, men are looking more to like the cold facts of the situation, the rationality, the reason, the logic, whereas women, when it comes to survival, they're feeling a lot more. It's a lot more emotion, and they can't understand how men can't pay more attention to that, how they can just dismiss their emotions so quickly. I guess from a scientific level, you can say that there's always a right and wrong in a situation, but with something like this, it's not so much about like women are wrong or men are wrong or even thinking it that way. It's just understanding that the way that your brain is wired is different to the opposite gender, and ideally being understanding of that, compassionate towards that, and in the best case scenario, cooperating and learning from that different perspective. There may be some men listening to this thinking, no, we don't need the emotional side of life. Fuck the feminine. We just need, facts. We just need logic. But I don't believe you, because when you meet a woman who's hyper masculine like that, who's like all about the facts, you're not attracted to her. Think of your ball busting, bad boss bitch, corporate career kind of woman who's just like, out for money and is really, really ambitious. No men are attracted to that woman. No, we're suspicious of her. She doesn't seem feminine. She doesn't seem in touch with her emotional side. As much as us men, we might struggle with our emotions and our emotional side, we like to see emotions inside women. It reassures us that they're feminine, that they're going to be good mothers. We feel troubled if we notice that our girlfriend doesn't have any female friends. We correctly sense that for a woman to be competent and at peace with her own femininity, then she would have close friendships with other women. If you ever meet a woman who's like, I don't care what other women think of me, you can sense that, well, something's gone wrong. There's something a bit off about that. Here's a really fascinating test you can do in your real life. Go to the men and the women that you know and ask them this question. Would you rather be well-liked or well-respected? You'll probably find some variation, but generally speaking, you'll find that respect is more important for men and being well-liked is more important for women. And this all traces back to what was important for each gender for our survival. So long-time subscribers of my channel understand that I don't make these videos to like bash women or laugh at them for having emotions. The purpose of talking about all of this stuff is to try and get men to understand women better, to empathize with their perspective, so that hopefully the next time you're in a frustrating discussion where you're like, how many facts and logic do I need to throw at this other person before they finally see what's correct? Hopefully you can just take a step back and be like, all right, maybe that's not all that's going on here. If she has an emotional block to the truth, then maybe the smartest thing for me to do is to inquire about that, to ask her how she's feeling. Maybe once I give her that experience of visibility and validation and let her express herself emotionally, then she can remove that block and then she's going to be a lot more open to listen to my rationality. I do not see the relationships between men and women as a competition or a war. This is not like who's going to reign supreme. We need each other. This is about cooperation. And this goes for you too, women. You can't just stubbornly hold on to your emotions and just be like, well, I'm not listening to anything that I don't feel like is correct. Just hold the whole world hostage because of your emotions. No, you have a responsibility to communicate those emotions in a way that makes sense to a man and also make an effort to hear where he's coming from as well. And I can understand that just listening to this, like, okay, I can agree in theory, it might all sound really good, but it's not matching up with your personal experience. experience, because when your girlfriend gets emotional, you just find that the conversation goes nowhere, or the two of you end up yelling at each other or something like this. What you need is a step-by-step guide on how to actually resolve that situation. When a woman is feeling really, really emotional, how do you bring her back to reality? How do you help her see logic? That guide is what I've created in the full-length version of this video, which is available on Patreon. What you see here on YouTube, this is just a short and abridged version. I go into a lot more depth in the Patreon versions of my videos. So if you want to see that, come over to Patreon.